evening, Sarah.
Oh, hello, Martha.
Haven't you had any customers today?
No, only 2 for lunch yesterday. But one of them bought a jar of preserves.
You see, I told you business would pick up.
Sweet to encourage me, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose the inn.
Mr. Quimby acting up again, huh?
And Mr. Cross. It's useless unless the impossible happens.
Nothing is impossible.
Okay, but that's the last time I ever hitchhiked. That guy dropped us off miles from a highway.
Well, he drove us all the way from Florida to Massachusetts, didn't he?
Yeah, it was some shortcut you showed him.
Well, considering he was headed for Texas, I don't see how we can complain. Well, let's go inside and inquire how to get back on the highway.
Colonel, do me a favor.
What is it?
Wherever you go, there's always trouble. Let me do the talking, for once.
For once, you do the talking.
You're just in time for dinner.
We are?
The specialty for today is Yankee pot roast.
It is?
Oh, and wait till you taste Mrs. Turner's blueberry muffins.
I can't wait.
Garvey, we didn't come in for dinner.
Well, I just thought I'd kill 2 birds at the same time.
And let me show you Mrs. Turner's preserves.
Sure.
Garvey, we have no time for sightseeing. You do the talking, remember?
Oh, yeah. What I wanted to ask was...
My favorite is pickled walnut.
I prefer pickled watermelon. Oh, I'm sorry. You do the talking.
Don't they pickle pickles anymore?
Evening, Sherry. Marty.
Likewise.
Hello, Mr. Quimby, Mr. Cross.
Busy?
No.
Talk to you for a minute?
We'd better talk in the sitting room.
Well, it suits me.
Likewise.
Excuse me.
Friends?
Enemies.
Yes, I thought so. They seem to be the bearers of ill tidings.
$816 worth. They're going to foreclose on her.
Now, Mr. Cross and I have been pretty patient, don't you think?
Oh, I do. I think you've been real good neighbors.
Yes, but we are businessmen.
Exactly. We've got an investment here, and you're way behind on your mortgage payments.
I know.
Have to put the place up for sale unless we get our just desserts.
Exactly.
But what can I do?
Well, I'll give it to you short and sweet. We don't get our money by day after tomorrow. Out you go.
You mean you'll foreclose?
Exactly.
Yes. We better look around in there, check on things.
Exactly.
You'd think pickled walnuts like these would sell. They don't.
Let's see now. How many tables and chairs she got here?
Garvey, what does this suggest to you?
Pickled walnuts.
No, I'm referring to the jar. I've never seen anything like it outside of a museum.
That jar?
Yes, a fascinating example of colonial glassmaker's art. The texture is typical Stiegel.
Well, I always thought it was just an old mason jar.
Mason probably had a hand in it, too.
And yet the perfect symmetry and the sea green tone are reminiscent of Wistar at his best.
You know a lot about old glass, don't you?
Old glass or anything else that's old and valuable.
I bet he knows Professor Brookhouse.
Brookhouse?
Elihu Brookhouse. He comes here summers.
He's the director of the State Museum.
Oh, that Brookhouse. How is the old professor?
Old? He's not a day over 30.
Old Elihu is not a day over 30.
Elihu Brookhouse, he's 29.
Oh, you're talking about young Elihu. I was thinking about old Elihu, his brother.
What museum are you connected with?
None. I prefer to freelance.
It's harder that way.
How frequently a rare treasure is turned up in some obscure New England home, forgotten and relegated to the dust of the attic. A rare Spode cup, perhaps, which that is not. Or a priceless Paul Revere Porringer, which this is not. Or the superb Salem lamp, which definitely is not a superb Salem lamp. Or even something like that. A rare old desk, which this... Mrs. Turner, where did you get this desk?
Well, I've had it for years.
Is it worth anything?
A shell design under the veneer, perfectly matched rosewood, hand-hewn dovetail joints, spoon legs. Mr. Quimby, you asked me if this desk is worth anything.
Is it?
Have you heard the name Duncan Fife?
Duncan Fife.
Is this an original Duncan Fife?
Experts agree that he was the greatest of the colonial cabinet makers. Some say greater even than Hepplewhite. Right?
With me, it's always been a toss-up.
Then it must be very valuable.
Well, if it isn't, I'm no expert.
And I'll back him up on that.
Sarah, how wonderful.
Well, it's far past my bedtime. I'll be saying good night.
Likewise.
Good night, Sarah.
Good
My
night.
gentlemen.
Oh, Sarah, it looks like all your troubles are over.
Yes, Martha, it does seem as if the impossible had happened.
Colonel, everybody's saying good night. Why don't we?
An excellent suggestion. Mrs. Turner, do you have a vacancy?
A vacancy? I have a house full of vacancies. Martha, I've got overnight guests. I'll go and get your room ready for you.
Oh, I'll help you.
Colonel, I meant say good night and go.
I know you did, but we're staying.
Well, what for? All Mrs. Turner has to do is sell this original Duncan something or other desk, and she's out of the woods, right?
Wrong.
Well, why? She owes the Rover boys $816 in back payments, right?
Right?
Then you mean to say she can't raise that much on an original Duncan,
Fife, only it isn't.
isn't what?
An original. It's a copy, and a poor one at that. They don't make reproductions like they used to. It's becoming a fast-vanishing American art.
I wish I could vanish.
Why, aren't you enjoying yourself?
Well, I won't enjoy facing Mrs. Turner when she finds out this desk is nothing but plain wood.
Well, as a Greek soldier once said when peering out of the wooden eye of the famous Trojan horse, est duro rigantusto.
Which means?
It's certainly attracting attention. Well, how does it feel to sleep with a roof over your head?
Sleep. I was waiting for the roof to cave in.
Well, that was foolish. The building's old, but very sturdy.
I'm not talking about this building. I'm talking about what you were building last night.
Oh, you mean with Quimby and Cross?
Exactly.
Well, your lack of sleep hasn't affected your appetite.
That'll be affected later, when we get the bill. Colonel, what does it say on the back of that $50 in Latin?
What it says on all coins, e pluribus unum.
Which means?
Out of many, one.
Well, out of the many $50 in this country, we only have one. Remember that.
I'll remember.
Colonel, I didn't sleep a wink last night thinking about that desk. It's going to solve my problem.
I'm sure it will.
It won't solve ours.
I can pay off Mr. Quimby and Mr. Cross, and then I'll be able to put my place up for sale.
There's one pretty good problem I know of.
What's that, Mr. Garvey?
He's referring to the real estate market. It fluctuates. So if you intend to sell this establishment, put it up with a good agent right away.
Well, that's a wonderful idea. But Martha has gone out, and I can't leave the place.
Why?
Well, suppose a customer comes in.
Since when was that a problem?
Oh, don't you worry. We'll take care of everything for you.
Oh, you are the kindest man I've ever met. I'll get my things.
I don't get it. You're getting her to sell a house that she thinks will be free and clear after she sells a desk that's worth nothing.
And that's not easy.
What I mean is, why are you getting her all steamed up?
Well, where there's steam, there's something cooking.
So if you ask me, I think your pilot light's gone out.
Yes?
We want to see Mrs. Turner. Is she in?
What do you want us to hear about?
She out?
In, but I'm handling her business for her at the moment.
Well, we'd rather talk to her if you don't mind.
Colonel Flack, I'll try not to be... Oh, good morning, Mr. Quimby, Mr. Cross.
Morning. Like to talk to you for a minute.
Mrs. Turner was just going out on urgent business. I've been trying to tell him, but I promised to take care of everything for you.
Oh, he's the sweetest man. You know what the specialty of the day is,
You
don't
left
you?
everything to me. Now stop worrying.
What's this about the specialty of the day?
The specialty of the day is putting your cards on the table. What can I do for you?
How much is that desk worth exactly?
What desk?
What desk?
That desk.
Well, what about it?
I'm asking what it's worth.
I have no idea. I know nothing about second-hand furniture.
Second-hand furniture? Last night you said it was a Duncan Fife.
I don't see very well at night. Garvey, that chair is in an excellent state of preservation, but please don't tempt fate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost my head.
I suppose that's a second-hand chair, hmm?
I don't know what you're getting at.
Oh, now, who do you think you're fooling?
Garvey, what's the name of that man at the Smithsonian Institution? You know, the one in charge of early American glassware?
I thought so. This place is loaded with antiques.
Why do you persist in twisting my words? There's nothing of any value here, relatively speaking.
I'll bet you. Well, I got to get back to town.
Likewise.
But I thought you wanted to talk about
Some
that.
other time.
Where are they going in such a hurry?
To see how fast they can lose each other.
Do you think they'll be back?
They took the bait.
What makes you so sure?
I used the right line.
Colonel, I think you caught your first fish.
Right on time. Come in, Mr. Quimby.
Where's Mr. Cross?
He's on his way back to town. He wouldn't understand this, but I'd like to help poor Mrs. Turner.
You would?
Yes, so rather than go to the expense of a foreclosure...
You'd like to make an offer on the house?
Yes.
And naturally, you want the furnishings included.
It would simplify things. Now, I doubt if this old house would bring $8,000 on the open market, but I'm prepared to offer it 10.
$10,000?
$10,000 is a nice sum.
Nice and neat, I'd say.
Neatness is not important here. Try again.
Business is suddenly picking up.
It's that double-crossing cross. Hide me.
Garvey.
I'll suffocate in here.
Try not to.
I'll knock when the coast is clear. The bidding starts at 10,000. You want to buy the house,
Yep.
including the furnishings,
Yep.
and start bidding
But 10,000 is pretty steep. I just want to...
to help Mrs. Turner.
Yep. And Quimby would...
Never understand.
Yeah.
It's quite all right. We're alone. At least I think we are. I thought Quimby had gone home.
The double-crosser.
Garvey? Garvey. No, not there. There.
There?
There. I'll knock when the coast is clear.
We could use a traffic cop around here.
Oh, I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Oh, no, things have been very quiet.
In a hysterical sort of way.
Oh, Colonel, I can't thank you enough. The real estate man says he'll be happy to help me. From the moment you stepped into my tea room, I've had nothing but good luck. I just hope it continues.
Well, knock on wood.
You and your superstitions. I believe you gentlemen have met before.
What are they doing here?
Inspecting the premises.
Exactly. Unless you pay up, this place will soon belong to us. I wanted to see what I was getting.
Likewise.
Don't worry. You'll get it soon enough.
Well, until then, will you excuse me?
Yes. What were you doing here?
Are you questioning me?
Exactly.
Well, likewise.
Well, I must confess I don't like them. But that isn't getting dinner ready. Excuse me.
They're arguing among themselves. We've started the ball rolling.
I only hope it isn't the 8-ball with us behind it. Colonel, let's forget the whole thing and beat it.
And what'll we tell Mrs. Turner?
Oh, tell her anything. Tell her a pressing matter came up.
For a pressing matter, you need a hot iron.
I don't get it.
You will when you get the hot iron.
Would you like this rare, medium, or well done?
Well done. We're going back to the 18th century.
It could only be an improvement.
Couldn't you have procured a longer feather?
Well, the duck I borrowed it from was a short duck. Well, I think this is well done now, on both sides.
Oh, that's perfect.
Colonel, what are you going to do with that when it's finished?
Hide it?
So no one can find it?
Oh, no. That would defeat my whole plan.
Well, that makes sense. If your name's Colonel Flack.
Get rid of that ironing board.
Must be the Rover boys again.
get rid of these. All right, let them in.
Evening.
Colonel,
Good evening.
we've talked it over. No sense competing.
Yeah, we've decided to do business with Mrs. Turner.
We'll pay $15,000.
And that's our final offer.
In this life, nothing is final.
That's for sure.
I've got a surprise for you. Guess who's here?
Who?
Professor Brookhouse of the State Museum.
We sent for him, just to be sure.
Exactly.
I've heard many things about you.
Oh, you have? From whom?
You have an older brother.
No.
You have a younger brother.
No.
A boy needs a brother.
I phoned the professor to come down and look at the antiques around here, especially that desk.
Well, Professor, examine it to your heart's content, and I think you'll agree it's an excellent copy.
Copy?
Yeah, like an imitation.
Why, Colonel, I was under the impression you
He said it was an original.
I told you I knew nothing about second-hand furniture. Professor, perhaps you can convince them. I don't know why they won't believe me.
Certainly doesn't look like an original.
Well, that's what I've been trying to tell them. Look at the shell design and the veneer. Have you ever seen anything so bad? And that imitation rosewood. And these dovetail joints, machine-made. Examine it to your heart's content. That's enough. Look at these. Did you call those colonial runners?
Where?
Right there.
There's nothing there but a piece of paper.
Where?
There.
Oh, it looks like it's been there for centuries. Professor, do you know anything about old documents?
Nothing.
Then you're in a perfect position to give an objective opinion on my findings.
What findings?
The findings I'll find when I authenticate this document.
Well, I really must be going. My train will be...
Professor, please, excuse me. When I hold this paper in front of the light, what do you see?
Writing.
By a quill pen. What else do you see?
Nothing.
No watermark. And you know what that means.
I do?
Will you concede that this document dates from the 18th century?
I'll concede that.
I don't want to miss my train.
It definitely appears to date from revolutionary times.
So it's old. What makes it so valuable?
A foolish question deserves a foolish answer.
Now we come to the heart of the matter. Professor, how are you on American history?
I taught history for 10 years at the university.
What time is your train?
About 20 minutes.
You'll never catch it unless you hurry.
Oh, goodbye.
I'll see you out.
Garvey, we found it.
I knew you would. Right.
Hey, let's see that.
Oh, no, please. It's so old it may crumble.
Well, I just want to see what it says.
Likewise.
It's nothing.
Oh, it's more than nothing.
It's just an old colonial recipe for oatmeal cookies.
Then why'd you get so excited when you found it?
I like oatmeal cookies.
Ready, Colonel?
Oh, 2 shovels. Good.
Let's go.
Goodbye.
What do shovels mean to you?
Digging?
Exactly. I want to know what's really on that piece of paper.
Likewise.
I don't like this, Colonel.
Oh, patience, Garvey. The Grand Canyon wasn't dug in a day.
Do you think they'll follow?
They will. They did. Our research proves that General Gage's paymaster left behind over 200,000 pounds in British sterling.
I know that, and I agree with you. I just want to be sure this is the right spot.
According to this paper, we are right on the spot. Start digging.
Hey, I want to know what you're digging for.
Likewise.
Worms.
Worms? What for?
What do you generally use worms for? Fishing.
Ain't no fishing around here for miles.
Exactly.
Well, I suppose we'll have to tell them.
Oh, you won't have to. We heard.
There's no sense in quarreling. I assume we are all after the same thing. Money?
Exactly.
Likewise.
Then I suggest we adjourn now and meet again at midnight. It'll be safer then. We'll dig for what lies beneath here, divide it, and then separate. Agreed?
Agreed.
Until midnight.
Yeah. I wonder how deep it's buried.
Conversation won't get you there. Dig.
Exactly. By the by, where's Mr. Garvey?
A 3-way split is more profitable for us.
Oh, that's why you called and changed the time to 11.
Exactly. Well, gentlemen, commence.
What was that?
Someone shooting at us.
Shooting. Seemed to come from that direction.
It's Mrs. Turner. If she finds out what we're digging for, she'll tell everyone in town, and they'll all come digging unless
Unless what?
we have a legal right to keep them out.
Meaning what?
We must buy this place from Mrs. Turner.
It's a good idea. Offer of $15,000, Colonel.
Mrs. Turner, I have an offer of $15,000 for your property. Better make it 20. 20? Could we afford 25?
Make it 25.
25? Either that price is satisfactory or she's run out of ammunition.
Will you sign here?
But I can't believe Colonel Flack would have you waken me at this hour
Do you want the money or don't you?
Of course I do.
Well, then sign, and the $25,000 is yours.
But I still can't understand why.
Now, just stop asking questions.
Exactly.
Did they see you?
No, but I saw them. She just signed. The deal's closed.
Well, now the new deal begins.
I'm afraid to ask what that is.
Then I suggest you don't ask.
Good night, sir, eh?
Good night.
That's our cue. Well, did she sign?
Tell him.
You tell him.
We just bought the house.
Oh, as we planned.
Exactly. Only you're out.
Well, how about me?
You were out long ago.
He's back in again. Did I tell you, Garvey?
You sure did.
Tell him what?
That you two were not to be trusted. I suppose you think you were digging in the right spot.
You mean we weren't?
Did you think we could be trusted?
Well, could you?
I won't answer that question.
Don't look at me.
Would $500 get an answer?
You insult me.
For $500, I'd filibuster.
All we want you to do is tell us the right spot.
And we'll give you the 500.
I won't plead. I'll take 1,000.
1,000.
1,000.
Now, don't start that again. 500, take it or leave it.
I won't plead. I'll take it. In cash. Old bills, hand them to my associate.
Well, now, where's the right spot?
Right in the spot you were digging.
What? I'll give you back that money.
Now, how much did you pay for the house?
You know as well as I do. $25,000.
And what is 5% of that?
$1,250. But what are you getting at?
The standard real estate commission. Since I acted as your agent of this transaction, you owe me an additional $750.
Oh, wait a minute.
Which I will forego until you find what you're digging for. To your shovel.
Oh.
I gotta hand it to you, Colonel.
Yes, please do.
Well, what do we do now? Hitchhike again?
Hitchhike? Garvey, how can you say such a thing?
What do you mean?
Have you forgotten?
Forgotten what?
We have $500.
Oh, the money. I'll call a cab.
A Garvey, a cab. We'll hire a limousine.
Sorry.
Oh, Colonel, won't you and Mr. Garvey please accept this going-away gift?
Oh.
Just what we needed. Pickled walnuts.
Why, thank you very much, Mrs. Turner.
You know, I saw Mr. Quimby and Mr. Cross digging furiously out back. Would you know what they're up to?
They're improving the property.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Colonel, let me thank you again for all you've done for me. And now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some packing to do. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
You know something, I like her. I'm glad we could help her out.
It does make you feel good, doesn't it?
Better than Quimby and Cross are going to feel when they find out they spent $25,000 for the right to dig for a treasure that doesn't exist.
Well, as Plato once said to Socrates in the 5th canto, es hoc agricola venidorum.
Which means?
They're in quite a hole.